Okay, let's get into it. So, I personally, I personally believe that supporting independent artists is a spiritual practice, and it's kind of like defying, in a way, capitalism and the fabric of this matrix. When you go out your way to buy a product from your local vendor or a local artist, as opposed to always buying it from a mass-produced company that makes their stuff like in bulk, right? And the reason why I say that is because the other day I was on Instagram and this guy posted a reel about how he made, like, one of the things that he does, he's a painter, but one of the things that he does, he makes lighter covers out of clay, which I've been seeing as becoming more popular, and like the covers be pretty dope, right? And he made custom lighter covers and he put it in like his own custom box, and it had like a little mini print that he would send to people as well, and he was charging like $130 $140 for it. And someone commented and they said that they basically said that's a ripoff. You can get the same thing for $15 at your local gas station or your local 7-Eleven. And usually I don't comment on Instagram posts, but this time I did. And I was basically telling the dude, like, supporting a local artist over supporting a mass produced company is much better because, for one, these companies, since they're making so much money, they cut back on the quality because they know that they're going to make so much money in return. So they don't even try, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, they don't even try to put their best foot forward because it's just mass produced. Another thing is that a lot of these major companies, when they create products, they are made in third world countries, impoverished areas, and sweatshops where the living conditions and working conditions of the people who are doing the forced labor is inhumane, right? And so when you decide to pay a little bit more money for better quality from a local artist or independent artist who may not be as famous or as well known as a large major company or brand, when you do that, it's a spiritual practice because you're going against forces of evil. Because at the end of the day, if you buy something from someone, but the way in which it was made, the originality of it was evil, or it was under, again, inhumane or terrible circumstances, the energetic field of that product will never match the same energy in a positive way as someone who created something for you meticulously, used quality material, and took their time to create it. Because a lot of us artists are one-man bands, right? We don't have other people that are helping us. It's just us creating the product. And when you're an artist who cares about what you create, and you don't just want to make a profit, but you know that everything you produce is spiritual, and you want everything that you create to have a positive effect on the next person or the person that buys it, then you're not going to cut corners. You're not going to do what these companies do and cheap you out by mixing materials or saying that it's made out of something when it's really made mostly out of something else, which is much cheaper. You don't do that. You do the best that you can because you know that quality means a lot more than the quantity. And since you are a one-man band or one-man show and you can't make as much as a mass-produced company, again, everything is done more with care and love and pride in what you're doing. I feel like a lot of times when companies make it big or they start selling on a mass level, like I hear it all the time, like the quality diminishes because now they're just focused on how can I produce as much as possible in the most efficient and quickest way as I can so I can make the most money, instead of realizing that when you create something from the depths of your soul and you do it in a pure way, then you will eventually receive compensation for that. It may not always be on the same level as a Fortune 500 company. That's okay. Because as an artist, for most artists, obviously we need to eat. When we live in this world, you got to pay your bills and whatnot. So you set your prices accordingly. But most artists, I would assume, that really love what they do, they're creating first and foremost because it feeds their soul. It nourishes their spirit and it is a part of their purpose. And then the benefit of that is that you get paid as well, because someone finds value in what you create and then they purchase it. Obviously, that is the long-winded version of what I told the guy in the comments, but I was basically just like, one of the things that as an artist you also have to realize for yourself is that when you set your prices, you don't just take into account the cost value of like the materials. You also take into account how much time it took to create it, the mental and spiritual energy and physical energy you put into creating this said product or this said art piece. People don't think about stuff like that. A lot of people, when they are looking at your art or whatever, they're thinking that it should be priced a certain way based on the size. So if it's a smaller piece of art, oh, that shouldn't be as much as this or that. But it has nothing to do with that. It doesn't matter how big or small your art piece is. It's the amount of time and energy you put into it and the cost it took to create it and the materials and stuff like that. So it's like, if you make, I don't know, a ceramic bowl, right? And you designed it. And let's say that most people are selling most artists around you, they're selling their ceramic bowls for $50. But you want to sell yours for $100, and you truly believe that's what it's worth, then sell it for $100. Like, sometimes looking at, oh, how much is this usually sold? What is the average? That doesn't always work. And that shouldn't always be the main focus for you, especially if you're not really mass producing anything and everything you're creating is meticulous and it takes time to create. You sell it for whatever it's worth. I'll never knock an artist for selling things at a high price, because that's what you think it's worth. Who am I to say, oh, it's not worth that much? Well, then I'm not your target audience. And obviously there are people and artists who create items and art pieces that are specifically, they're going to price it less expensive than others because they want to give their art out to someone who may not be able to afford the higher priced art pieces. But if you're thinking that way, that's fine. If you're someone that wants to make products that are a little bit less expensive and then you have more expensive ones, but don't just be pricing stuff because you feel like no one's going to buy it. Because I'm telling you, if you are authentic in what you create and what you do, at the end of the day, you will receive customers, because this is all energy. It's all energy. One person may, and that's another thing I said to somebody else, because we weren't arguing, but other people were like commenting and responding to me. It's like, if one person says your art sucks and they say, oh, this isn't worth it, I'm not going to pay for this, that's okay. Because there's going to be another person who will pay whatever you charge it for because they see the value in it. That's the problem with society today, and why people are complaining about when they buy clothes or they buy certain things and it lasts a very short amount of time. That's literally how it is now. You go buy a shirt from your local store or, I don't know, a name brand store, and after a couple of washes, it's already threading. Like, the thread is already coming apart. Whether it's fast fashion or a high quality store. Now, obviously, I know that there are stores that are, they sell more expensive items. And so obviously the quality is better. But even then, at the end of the day, I'm telling you, these big companies, they may charge you like, I don't know, let's say $60 for a t-shirt or $70. And they may say, oh, this is premium cotton, 100% cotton. And you buy the t-shirt, and you know its quality. It's better than if you were to get one at Walmart, perhaps, right? Or Target. But I guess in my mind, it's like, if you create something and you put your all into it and you research how to create it and you did your very best, why should it not last years? Why should it be falling apart? And I'm saying that you, like, because obviously you can have like trial and error, recall and stuff like that, but for the most part, these companies, regardless if something's expensive or cheap, things just don't last. You're seeing it with cars too. Cars are basically made out of paper at this point. Basically made out of paper. It's ridiculous. And it just goes back to that capitalism, that greed. People wanting more and more. They want these companies, they want more and more money, but they want to put in less work to receive that money. They're not honest. They're disloyal. There's no integrity in a lot of the world of creating. So when you support a small artist, you support an independent artist who doesn't have a large budget, doesn't have a lot of people backing them, don't have a large following on Instagram, then again, it's a spiritual practice, because you're choosing to support someone who's putting their all into what they create, as opposed to just going the cheaper route. And obviously, I'm not like dogging anyone that does that. You only can buy and purchase what you can afford, right? I'm just saying that if you are in the position, try reaching out to your local artists, or the small businesses, or your independent one-man band artists that just creating things on their own. And you'll find that the quality will be much better, and you'll appreciate it more, because it's like more intimate. You actually know the person who created it, or you met them, as opposed to just buying mass-produced sweatshop clothes. And I'm not saying that I'm not telling people like, oh, throw away all your clothes and don't buy, because most clothes at the end of the day, regardless of where you go, if it's like a department store or like a name brand store, most clothes are made probably in sweatshops. I don't know, you can't control that per se. And I know that not everyone lives in areas where there are like local artists around, or clothing stores that are like small businesses to buy things from. So again, at the end of the day, you just gotta purchase what you can afford. But I'm just saying that if you can, definitely support your small businesses and your independent artists, because we really do appreciate that, because we put our all into what we do. And it's not just about making money, it's a passion, it's purpose. And I think that's something that's really lacking in our society. Now, it's not going to change. It's only going to get worse as people become more greedy, and companies are caring more about emptying your pockets than giving you something worthwhile that will last. So support your local artists, small businesses. It's a spiritual practice. Peace.